Gentlemen, boys, and ghouls, step right up. Behind this curtain lies a ghastly concoction of delight, horror, fantasy, and terror. Your every wish is our command, your every whimsical desire brought to life. But I'm warning you, there's always a price. Welcome to the greatest show on earth!
Everybody, welcome to Bloodbath Theatre. I'm your host, King of Splatter Punk, author of the Camp Crystal Lake novels, William Pattison, and along with me is my horror host, Skull John. All right, we have got a colossal show for you. We have got the classic films, The Amazing Colossal Man, and War of the Colossal Beast tonight. So, these are great films. You're just going to absolutely love them. But before that, we have our lost television series, Project UFO. So let's get into that right now. Enjoy.
Ezekiel saw the wheel. This is the wheel he said he saw. These are unidentified flying objects that people say they are seeing now. Are they proof that we are being visited by civilizations from other stars? Or just what are they? The United States Air Force began an investigation of this high strangeness in a search for the truth. What you are about to see is part of that 20-year search.
What's on the agenda, Mage?
We're on our way to Waterford,
Good. Waterford.
northeast Iowa, private military school. There's a report the whole place is wrapped up in some kind of web-like substance.
Web-like substance?
As in spider, only this one, we're told, was spun by a flying saucer. I'm just thinking about that newsman that filed that report, that web-like substance.
What about it?
He called it angel hair.
Welcome to Waterford Military Academy. Colonel Max Delaney, United States Army retired. At your service, Major.
Thank you, sir.
You're wondering about the spider web, or angel's hair, as the newspapers call it?
Yes, sir. The newspaper report said that there was something that covered this whole area. I see nothing unusual.
Well, not anymore, you don't, and you won't. And as far as I'm concerned, good riddance.
Good riddance.
That's what I said, Sergeant. Anders,
Yes, sir.
I'll show these gentlemen their quarters. Dismiss the detail.
Yes, sir.
Major, Sergeant, would you follow me, please?
Thank you.
Detail dismissed.
Colonel, can you tell us what happened to the substance?
Well, last night, this place was covered with it. Then the rain came, and it just disappeared.
And you say it came from an unidentified flying object?
I said nothing of the kind, Sergeant. Some of my cadets may have said that. I guess that's why you're here. But to put it bluntly, I have no use for UFOs or flying saucers or whatever you want to call them. I especially have no use for them when they impugn the reputation of this school.
Is it hurting the school's reputation?
I don't think we really need the kind of publicity this incident is certain to create.
Can you tell us what this so-called angel here was?
I can't tell you what it was, Major, but I can show you what it did. Green hands, Major. Every one of them, just from touching the stuff. Andrews?
Company C.
Everyone here saw that web that covered this place.
How many boys are in the school, Colonel?
Well, normally we have a complement of 185 cadets. But this is spring break, so most of the boys are home. There are only 15 here now.
How many actually saw the UFO?
3. There was Mr. Radcliffe, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Delaney.
Delaney.
Yeah, that's right, Sergeant. Tim Delaney, my grandson. He was involved in this asinine nonsense.
You seem upset, Colonel.
Concerned is a better word. Do you know how long this academy has been in existence, Major? 75 years. 75 years preparing young Americans to make a better contribution to this nation of ours. Parents send their sons here not only to get an education, but to instill a national pride, a modicum of discipline, an appreciation for being a gentleman and an officer. And I do not like the thought that during my 8-year tenure at this academy, I have become involved in such outright silliness.
Colonel, we understand what you're trying to say.
Well, if you understand what I'm trying to say, Sergeant, you'll do something about this. The newspapers are trying to make Waterford a 3-ring circus. And I will not have it inferred that this academy is some kind of a freak farm. Every one of these boys is a fine young American, and I don't want them or this school held up to any form of ridicule.
Nor do we, Colonel. All we're interested in is finding out the truth.
Well, that's all I can ask, Major. How can we assist you?
We'd like to talk to the 3 boys who made the sighting.
Very well.
Is there someplace privately that we could talk?
Well, there's classroom 4. That's in another building.
That'd be fine. Thank you.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes, sir.
I want those saucer spotters, front and center.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir. Mr. Brown, Mr. Radcliffe, Mr. Delaney.
I want you men to report to classroom 4, on the double.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Mr. Delaney,
request permission to use the latrine first, sir.
the permission granted. At ease.
What we like to do, boys, is to go over your story in as much detail as possible.
What's going to happen to us, sir?
Nothing's going to happen to you. I want you to understand that we're here doing a job just like you. And you have your job going to school, and we have our job investigating UFO sightings. And when this is all over, nothing will have changed except we will have all had a new experience. How's that?
Gee, it really sounds great. How did you get into your line of work, sir?
Well, that's sort of hard to explain.
Project Bloodbath. I bet it's real secret stuff, huh?
Well, it's not really all that mysterious. Our job is to try and find evidence. It's either there or it isn't.
What kind of evidence?
Put it this way. If someone claims to have seen an unidentified flying object, we look for some sign of proof that it really wasn't his imagination.
You mean like a piece of their spaceship or something like that?
Yes, or not even that much. Maybe some indication of how the craft operates. What propels it? Was there any fuel residue? Impact impressions? Evidence of that nature.
That's probably what we saw.
What's that?
What you said, residue.
Fuel residue.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't an alien spiderweb. Maybe it was just fuel residue.
I think we better take it from the beginning. Now, who wants to lead off?
I have the rank, sir.
Okay, it's all yours.
Well, it was yesterday afternoon. Colonel Delaney assigned us the flag detail just before dinner. After we struck the colors and completed the proper folding maneuvers, we started back to the mess hall where the other cadets were getting ready for dinner. The first thing we heard was a strange noise. the stuff. It wasn't until later that we told them about the saucer. You know, after all their hands turned green. Then last night, it rained pretty hard. And when we got up this morning, the stuff was all washed away.
Is that how you saw it, Paul?
Yes, sir. Just like that. Everything. Only...
Only what, Paul?
when you hear somebody tell about it, well, it really sounds dumb, you know?
Well, if it's the truth, stick by it.
It's the truth, sir. Cadet honor, sir.
Timmy?
Do you believe us, sir?
We believe you saw something. Now we got to try to prove it.
How will you do that, sir?
With your help.
Mr. Delaney, I want to see you. What's your opinion now, gentlemen?
Well, we went over it several times. The boys are emphatic on what they claim to have seen, Colonel.
And Tim, he corroborates what the other boys say?
Yes, sir, he does. Doesn't have much to say, but he doesn't disagree with the others.
Colonel, we noticed the NASA material you have on the bulletin boards in there.
Yes, the space program is a very important part of our science curriculum. What are you suggesting, Major?
It's a possibility, Colonel. A wrong study of the space program and lively classroom discussion could help feed young imaginations.
That could be an explanation.
Partial explanation, Colonel. We still have that angel hair and those green hands to deal with.
Too bad some wasn't recovered before the rain washed it away.
I've got some of it, sir.
What's that, son?
The fuel whatchamacallit. I've got some of it, sir. You want to see it? I saved it, but you can have some if you want it, sir.
What do you think, Major?
I don't recall ever seeing anything like it.
All the other boys got scared when their hands turned green from that stuff, but I knew it wouldn't hurt nothing.
Anything, Delaney.
Yes, sir, anything.
What do you mean, son?
I just knew, that's all.
Mr. Delaney, you can go now. You're dismissed.
Yes, sir.
Sir?
Excuse me. You mind if I join you?
No, it's okay, sir.
Timmy, how did you know that the angel hair wouldn't hurt anyone? You trust me, don't you? Whatever you tell me is just between us. Nobody else.
Would the colonel have to know about it?
Not unless you want to tell him.
I saw them, up close. They didn't hurt me, so I knew they wouldn't hurt anyone else.
Let's go in here. You can tell me all about it. Pick your spot. Where do you want to sit? Okay, good. Have you told any of the other boys?
No, sir.
Did you have a reason for not telling them?
Well, they would have said I made it up, but I didn't. I didn't make it up.
Go on, Tim. Tell me what happened.
Well, all the boys were so busy playing in that stuff, I knew it had to be what you said it was.
You mean fuel residue?
Yep, because the spaceship had this crystal-like motor, all full of lights and everything. And I knew if the motor looked like that, it'd have to be the kind of stuff that'd come out. You know, like smoke in a car. You got a crystal engine, that's the kind of stuff that'll come out. Don't you think?
Go on, son.
Well, anyway, I kept looking over there toward the school, and I saw this light.
Let me see you. Come out, please. Please come out. You're nice, aren't you? You're not here to hurt anybody. No, don't go. Please don't go. Then it went. That dumb old dog scared it away.
That's quite a story, Tim.
Yes, sir. I never saw anything like it. I read a lot about flying saucers, but this is the first time my whole life I ever saw a real one.
Your whole life, huh?
Yes, sir. And I bet it's the first time for you, too.
What's that, son?
The angel hair stuff. I bet it's the first time you ever got some real evidence, isn't it?
Well, we don't know for sure yet.
Well, what are you going to do with it?
Well, we'll send it to our lab, and they'll take a look, and then they'll send us the report.
Oh.
Anything wrong?
What you said about this just being between us. You meant it?
Well, I sure did.
Well, Grandpa, I mean the Colonel. I got a feeling he'd like it a lot better if I hadn't told you what I just told you. You know?
Yes, Libby.
I know question number one. The answer is no. The lab has not finished their run on that angel hair stuff.
How much longer will they be? Do you know?
Well, they're pretty well booked up, but I told them this is top priority.
Good. What else?
We just received a call from one of the astronomers at Ashcroft Observatory in Wisconsin. The astronomer's not the one who made the sighting.
Okay. Who did?
A man contacted the astronomer, said he was attacked by an alien being, but the man insists on remaining anonymous.
Did you tell the astronomer that we do have problems investigating anything on a hearsay basis?
Sounds like it might turn out to be more than hearsay. Just a guess, of course. But the brass are strongly suggesting that you get over there right away.
Okay, we'll do that. Do we still have a contract with Ashcroft?
We do. Why?
All right. Set up an appointment with the astronomer at the observatory. What's his name?
It's she. Paulson, Dr. Virginia Paulson.
Dr. Paulson?
Yes.
Gatlin and Fitz, Project Blue Book.
Yes, I was expecting you.
How are you?
You're right on time, Major. Sergeant?
Ma'am? As we understand it, Doctor, you're not the one who made the reported observation.
No, I wasn't the one. But you would think that after all these years of squinting at stars, I would have seen something out of the ordinary, beside my bloodshot eye.
Maybe not. After all, you're a trained observer. You know what you're looking at.
Perhaps. But there have been trained observers who have made UFO sightings, haven't there been, Major?
It's been known to happen. What is this reported encounter all about?
Well, this man came to us, I guess because I'm an astronomer. I never did understand why the general public relates us to UFOs and aliens.
Well, like the Major said, you know the territory.
Well, this man said that if he didn't tell someone, he was going to go out of his mind. He had the most incredible story. He was virtually attacked by some kind of device from a spaceship.
You know, Dr. Paulson, it's very difficult for us to conduct any kind of investigation secondhand without hearing it from the principal.
Well, I realize that, but he's terrified of any kind of publicity.
Doctor, if you could introduce us to this man, we don't have to assure you that anything he said to us would be held in strictest confidence.
Major?
I don't know why we're having this discussion, Doctor. This institute holds a government contract with Project Blue Book, and I'm sure you're aware of our policies as well as we are.
Is that sufficient, Mr. Biggs? Darrell Biggs. Major Gatlin.
Hello.
Sergeant Fitz.
How are you? I heard what you said. I hope I have the assurance that I feel is necessary.
You do, Mr. Biggs.
I'd like to take you to the location where I had this encounter. Could we go first thing in the morning?
Sure. Where is it?
It's about a 2-hour drive from here, a place called Devil's Lake. There's one problem.
What's that, Mr. Biggs?
Well, after the 2-hour drive, we run out of road. Then we go on foot from there.
How far?
Well, it's not too bad. It's about 5 miles.
All right, do this for me, Libby. Have one of our chemists check for any possible manufacture of that compound. Right. We're going to be out of touch for the rest of the day, then.
Watch out for snakes.
We don't expect to see any.
Then watch out for whatever you do see.
See you. The lab has the angel hair broken down to identify chemicals.
Getting somewhere.
Well, we know what the chemical compound is, but nobody has a hint of any earthly purpose that it could be used for.
Why is it nothing can be simple?
Careful, Sergeant. You're talking about our means of making a living.
Man, I thought I left all this back in basic training.
Well, we're here. This is the place. This is where I saw everything. Like I told you, I was hunting with a couple of buddies from work, and we got separated. It started to get dark, and I just kind of lost my orientation.
I don't blame you. I've been confused ever since we left the road.
Yeah, I can appreciate that, Sergeant. One of the reasons they call this area Devil's Lake is because of so many people getting lost up here. Things are familiar, and then, again, they're not. I've been hunting in this area since I was 15 years old. I hunt with bow and arrow. I never carry a gun.
But you were lost.
Yes, Major, I was. But like I said, I had enough sense to stay put and build a campfire. I was just about to settle down until morning. That is, until I heard this weird, throbbing sound. tell you, never again in my life do I ever want to have an experience like that.
Reading on a scintillator. I got a soil sample. You do any good?
Nothing. Sure didn't need this. No landing impressions, no indication anything foreign had been in the area recently.
I got an idea, maybe.
Yeah?
Daniel Institute of Technology. Blue Book just made a contract with them recently.
Yeah. What's that doctor's name? Benzinger. Yeah, that's it. Dr. Everett Benzinger.
Right. He's been doing a lot of work on a new technique. Observational synchronistics.
Institute's here in Wisconsin, isn't it?
That's what made me think of it.
Wonder if Biggs will take an interview.
We don't know till we ask him.
You fellas don't believe me, do you? You still don't believe any of it happened?
Darryl, our job is to investigate, stay objective, and try not to reach any conclusion without solid evidence.
What about the fire? That's evidence, isn't it?
Yes, but unfortunately it doesn't prove that much. We're not denying what you tell us you experienced, but at the same time, evidence of that fire doesn't prove it.
Prove it. That's why I didn't want to report this. I knew I couldn't prove any of it. But I saw what I saw, Major. Sir? Right over there. That's my arrowhead. It must have sheared off when I fired at that thing.
You sure it's yours?
Oh, yes, sir. That I can prove. See, I make all my arrowheads by hand. That's mine. And look at it. Just look at it. Look at the tip there. It's blunted. That's impossible.
How's that, sir?
Well, I make those heads out of highly tempered solid steel, Sergeant. They just don't blunt. I'm sure you men know that. I don't know of anything on this earth that could blunt an arrowhead like that.
All right, Mr. Biggs. Please be good enough to tell me exactly what you see.
I see a small light.
And what's the light doing?
Well, it's moving, that's all, just moving around.
All right, Major. Lights, please.
The next thing you're going to ask is, how did that light move? Is that it?
That's right. This light couldn't move if it had to, could it?
No, it couldn't.
No need for alarm, Mr. Biggs. You just experienced what we call an autokinetic illusion. There are many kinds of scientific methods for explaining the inaccuracies of human observation. Take that diagram on the board here. Now, would you say that the AB line is as long as the CD line?
Yes. I say that the line between A and B is the exact same length as the line between C and D.
All right. Take a close look now. Measure them.
CD is 5 inches longer.
We don't always see what we think we see, Mr. Biggs.
Now, wait a minute. That light and this diagram on your board does not convince me that I didn't see what I saw in that forest.
We're not trying to convince you of anything, Mr. Biggs. This is one of those relatively new areas we try to probe. And Dr. Benzinger has done a great amount of research on the subject of synchronicities, and we felt that your experience could be examined in this context, and it might be helpful to you as well as us.
Look, I appreciate everything you're trying to do. But this synchro whatever, it doesn't mean a thing to me.
Synchronicistics is just one of our buzzwords, Mr. Biggs. It's our way of describing the psychology of an environment. a person's mind trying to unite or harmonize something that really conflicts with what that person knows to be logical. And because we can't explain it, the synchronistics of our observation coupled with the psychological reaction, then our brain attempts to explain it to us in another way, and not always accurately.
Do you think my brain lied to me about what I know I saw?
We're not saying that's the case, Mr. Biggs. Only a possibility.
I was in that forest. It was night. I was alone. I heard a lot of noises. I saw a lot of things. But here today, nothing that you've shown me or said so far convinces me that I went through some kind of psychological aberration. No, I'm sorry, gentlemen. I know what I saw. I really do.
And we're not trying to talk you out of it. If these methods can't help us provide an explanation, we'll just keep trying. We'll keep working on something else.
What about proving that I saw what I saw, Major?
Yes, sir. We'll be doing that, too.
Well, let me know what you find out. Gentlemen.
Well, what do you think, Doc?
The tests I gave him show he's a bright enough man. Everything he says he saw could possibly be explained on the theory of synchronicistics.
But not proven.
No, Major. Not proven. Either way.
That leaves us with the one piece of hard evidence.
That steel arrowhead.
What do you mean they won't release any information?
That's what the man said. Our lab ran down the prime chemical compound and traced it to the Safe Tea Chemical Company, just outside of Tracy, Iowa.
Well, why are they throwing such a cloak of secrecy over a chemical compound?
They wouldn't tell me, except to say it was company sensitive. They won't talk unless somebody shows up with the proper Air Force credentials. And you've got those.
What about the tests on that arrowhead?
They're doing the whole number, Major, including spectroscopic analysis and nuclear radiation.
Good. Get that report to us as soon as possible.
As quick as I get it.
Get your hat, Sergeant. We're going to have a chat with the president of a manufacturing complex. See if he'll let us in on a company secret.
What kind of a secret?
I'm not sure of it. It might be the recipe for angel hair.
Welcome back to Waterford Academy, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
You're welcome, sir.
I think we might have an answer. Will I like it? We hope so. It's the right one.
Well, what about the angel hair?
Now, watch the screen, gentlemen. It's called chaff. That's a C-130 jet prop transport. The aircraft is engaged in a military exercise. Now, this chaff is a newly developed material proposed for military use, and the manufacturer was attempting to create a totally biodegradable substance. And the green coloring on your hands was a result of the dye used in the manufacturing process. The explanation for the complete disappearance, well, since it's biodegradable, it's simply dissolved in the rain.
Just what is chaff, sir?
Well, this particular chaff is strictly in the experimental stage. Its intended use is to distort or cloud radar. And if it should prove successful, during periods of military conflict, we could airdrop it to avoid or confuse resolutions on enemy radar screens. The manufacturer developed this new material and arranged for an in-flight test. Now, on the day of your sighting, the sun was just above the horizon at that precise time. So here's what you have. A highly reflected aluminum-bodied aircraft carrying 4 engines, creating that particular howl-like sound, peculiar only to jet prop engines. Now, there's your angel hair. And the brilliance of the aircraft fuselage and the oddball sound of the engines might have created the illusion that the boys were seeing something other than what they really saw. Now, unfortunately, some unusual wind shifts due to that approaching weather front caused a great amount of it to drift into the area of your academy here. Obviously, it was not intended to do so. Colonel?
Major, I'd bank on it, with a deep appreciation for your investigative abilities. Well, men, what do you say? Do these gentlemen from the Air Force deserve a big hand from us? Well done. Cadets dismissed.
Let me have a moment alone with Timmy. much to help explain what you saw, did we, Tim?
Yes, sir.
Well, do you believe what I said about the angel hair?
Yes, sir, I guess so.
Well, if you accept that, you really have to say that it wasn't fuel residue from a spaceship, wouldn't you?
I guess so, sir. But I saw it, sir. I did. I saw it.
Tim, all of us see a lot of things that we can't explain. So you know what happens? Our mind tries to explain it for us.
Our mind tries to explain it, sir?
Well, let's put it this way. Your mind is a kind of a sponge. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you read gets soaked up in that sponge. And you have a lot of books on spaceships and the NASA program, even some fiction novels, don't you?
I like to read about that stuff, sir.
I know you do. And sometimes what happens, especially when we're young, when we haven't learned how to categorize a lot of things that we see, or when we haven't as yet learned a lot about the explanation of things, well, one mistake in observing something can start building up a whole lot more mistakes. And all those things that you stored up in your mind can start coming into play, and pretty soon, your imagination gets itself into high gear and you see things and dream about things, things that maybe you want to believe. So it becomes real, Timmy. Real because your mind, that wonderful sponge that you have up there, wants to believe in those kinds of things. You understand what I'm saying?
I think so, sir. Why should I see somebody inside of something that I never really saw in the first place? Why, sir?
For the same reason. Because you wanted to. And you know, Tim, the nice thing about what you saw and what you heard is that you wanted to see somebody friendly in that spacecraft. And if it happens someday, if people from other planets really do come here, well, I hope they're kind and friendly, just like the one you wanted so badly to see and talk to.
You know what, sir? I feel a little bit better than I did a couple minutes ago.
Good.
Sir, do you think the other guys are going to laugh at me?
I don't think so, Tim. And you know, some of their imagination started working overtime, too, and most of those guys are older than you are.
They are, aren't they?
Company, attention! Present arms! Order arms!
Well, gentlemen, I'm afraid that's the best thank you that we know how to give.
I don't think we could ask for better, Colonel.
You have a fine group of young men here, sir.
Well, thanks to both of you. They're just that much better. If there's ever anything else we can do...
Thank you very much, sir.
Andrew?
Detail dismissed!
Pardon me, sir.
Yes, Mr. Delaney?
Do you think we could go home next weekend and see Mom and Dad?
I think that is a very good idea, Tim. And when we get there, do you think you could remember to call me Grandpa?
Yes, sir. I'll do that, sir.
Right, Patterson, Major.
Thank you.
Lab reports.
What'd they find?
No question. That arrowhead struck something harder than high-tempered steel.
Where does that leave us?
Where it usually does, with only half an answer.
Alrighty, so that was Project UFO. I know you really enjoy this. I know John does. He absolutely loves Project UFO. Alrighty, so now it is time for our first feature. The Amazing Colossal Man. Alrighty, Colonel Glenn Manning accidentally gets caught in an explosion of a plutonium bomb. He is burned from head to toe. Amazingly, his skin regenerates, and amazingly enough, he starts to grow. Unfortunately, his circulatory system does not grow with him, and due to a lack of blood, he starts going insane. So, let's check out The Amazing Colossal Man. Enjoy.
The time is 2:45 a.m., 2 hours and 15 minutes before time zero. At time zero, a new type of atomic explosion, a plutonium bomb, will be detonated at Desert Rock, Nevada. These soldiers are to experience the plutonium explosion under simulated combat conditions.
Attention! Attention! All personnel! The time is 0 minus 30 seconds. The time is 0 minus 30 seconds. The plutonium explosion will take place at time 0. I repeat, the plutonium explosion will take place at time 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Do not leave your positions. I repeat, do not leave your positions. The plutonium bomb has been triggered and can explode at any moment.
The chain reaction did not complete its cycle as calculated. Keep your dark glasses on and stay where you are.
I see. Right.
How does it look, Colonel?
I'm not sure.
How could a thing like this happen? They've set off lots of these bombs before.
Not a plutonium bomb, they haven't. This is the first one.
Sir, can't we leave? Can't we get out of here?
No, Sergeant. You've got to wait until the chain reaction dampens or reaches a point of explosion. It could go off in a second, a minute, 10 minutes, maybe not at all. Just have to wait it out.
Can we smoke, sir?
Sure. But keep hugging that trench wall closest to the bomb position. There won't be any warning when it goes.
Colonel.
Huh?
Listen.
That sounds like a plane. Control. There's a light civilian plane coming in at 190 degrees. Appears to be in trouble.
Ground to pilot. Ground to pilot. This is Control. Can you read me?
Still coming in.
Ground to pilot. You are flying over an atomic detonation area. You are flying over a restricted area. Change your heading 180 degrees.
Losing altitude fast. He's going down.
Was he killed?
I can't tell. He could be unconscious inside the plane.
Colonel, that bomb could go off any second.
Control, that pilot could be alive. What about the bomb?
It's still activated, Colonel. Once the chain reaction has been triggered, there's nothing we can do to stop it.
But there's a man in that plane.
We're helpless, Colonel.
Colonel, no!
This is General Lawson. I order you to return to your trench.
Get the mechanics waste ready.
Another unit of blood, please.
A unit of blood, please.
Nurse. How is he?
Where have they got Colonel Manning that was in an accident? They've got him over in surgery there, sir.
Brought him out yet? They don't hold much hope for him. It was quite a mess when they got to him. Couldn't even find the plane or the pilot he was trying to save. You know, I was there covering the test for National News Service. Never seen anything like it. I've seen plenty.
Please,
You a friend of his?
his fiancée.
gosh, I'm sorry. What a fool. Please, can I do something for you, get you something? How long have you known Colonel Manning? Maybe if you talked about him, it'd help.
You said you were there when it happened. Was he conscious when they reached him? I mean, was there much pain? He's been in a coma since he got to the hospital.
I don't think he knew anything when that blast hit him. It's terrible. You know, they had the whole thing on film. There were 18 cameras embedded in concrete to shoot every phase of the explosion.
Third-degree burns on almost 100% of the body's surface, and the man still lives. Unbelievable. By all the rules, he should be dead.
We were to be married tonight in Las Vegas. We met in the funniest way. Our cars locked bumpers at a busy intersection in Chicago. He was stationed nearby at Fort Sheridan. He got so mad. He still ribs me about my driving. Glenn is such a wonderful man. He doesn't deserve a break like this. Why did this have to happen to him?
Things like this just happen. There doesn't have to be a reason.
He must have protected his eyes with his arm. He apparently covered them when the blast hit. That's one bit of luck.
Luck? This man's luck ran out long ago. He'll die of shock before morning, and if that doesn't do it, infection will. I'll be sure he gets penicillin and cortisone around the clock. Although I think it's useless.
There's always a chance.
What kind of chance do you give to a man who hasn't a square inch of skin left on his body? He's already lost enough body fluid to be fatal.
Well, we've done all we can do. Now we'll just have to wait. Now keep the room temperature at 80 degrees. I'm on a constant check on his pulse, hour by hour. Right.
Will he be all right, Doctor?
Are you Carol? Your name was the only word he spoke.
Is he?
He's still alive.
He will be all right.
I don't know. I wish I could give you some hope.
Yes, doctor, and plasma continuously.
Scissors, please.
Develop new skin. How's it possible?
Yesterday, this was dead tissue. And today, there isn't even a scar.
What do you make of it, Paul?
When skin is burned to the degree that it was on this man's body, it just doesn't grow back.
So what's the answer?
I don't know.
Skin. It's not burned. Why, he's going to be all right, isn't he?
And since you played a major role in the development of the plutonium bomb, Mr. Kingman, we hope that you may be able to help us to understand or to learn how Colonel Glenn Manning survived the blast.
I brought you the film taken during the explosion, but I don't see what can be learned from it, as far as your patient is concerned. The accident was unfortunate, very unfortunate. What more can be said?
There are two answers that we're looking for. Now, the first is how Glenn Manning was able to survive the explosion.
Chance. It just happened that conditions were such that he was afforded a certain amount of protection.
What explanation would you give for the new skin that has grown on this man in a matter of hours?
What possible connection could there be to the bomb? A man survives an explosion, a plutonium explosion. And then, for some reason or other, his skin heals more rapidly than usual. What is the mystery, gentlemen?
Mr. Kingman, when 60 or 70% of a person's body is burned, he doesn't have much chance for survival. Now, if he should live, the skin that was destroyed does not grow back. It remains dead scar tissue. When a man suffers over a 95% body burn and less than a day later looks normal, I'd say there was a mystery.
And you feel that the plutonium may have some unknown quality that is responsible?
It's worth every effort to know. Now, I'll admit that you may be right. The plutonium possibly had nothing to do with it. There may be nothing more to this than a freak of nature. But if there is something to it, think of what it'll mean to medical science to have such a regenerative or healing power under its control.
Shall we view the film? Like many of the atom tests, we built a model town to see how it reacted to the explosion. The protected cameras, such as this one, recorded the experiment. Watch this building when the heat of the explosion reaches it. There. Now the force of the blast. Here's another building. First burned, and then disintegrated. There's Manning. This was seconds before the explosion. The fact that Glenn Manning lived after the blast and that new skin completely replaced the burned dead tissue in a matter of hours leaves only one conclusion. Something out there is beyond the limits of our knowledge.
Yes?
Miss Carol Forrest?
Yes?
I'm Lieutenant Klein, attached to security at the Nevada testing grounds. May I talk with you for a moment?
Has Colonel Manning... Has something happened?
No, at least not that I know of. However, as security officer attached to Colonel Manning, I've been sent to tell you, you won't be able to visit the Colonel at the hospital for a while.
But why?
Security reasons, ma'am. I wish I could tell you more, but, well, I really don't know anymore.
I don't understand. What possible reason could there be to keep me from seeing him?
Well, I was with the Colonel at the time of the accident, ma'am. I wish I could help you. I'm only carrying out orders.
But he is getting well.
Oh, I'm sorry. You'll have to wait until security is lifted.
All right. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night. Excuse me. Could you tell me where they've taken Colonel Manning?
I'm sorry, miss. I never heard of Colonel Manning.
But you must have heard something about him.
I'm sorry, miss.
Excuse me. My name is Carol Forrest. I'm Colonel Glenn Manning's fiancée.
Yes?
I was looking for Colonel Manning.
There's no visiting until 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Miss Forrest.
I know that. And I also know that Colonel Manning is no longer in his room on the second floor. Where have they taken him?
There's no Colonel Manning listed here. There's another hospital near Barstow. Perhaps you've made a mistake.
I haven't made a mistake. I know Colonel Manning was here, and I insist on being told what you've done with him. I'd like to speak to the head of the hospital, please.
He'll be back the day after tomorrow, so if you'd care to return.
Where can I find Dr. Lindstrom? Don't tell me you've never heard of him.
Oh, you mean Dr. Lindstrom from Rochester?
That's right.
Well, he was only here for a few days, called in on a special case.
Did he return to Rochester?
We wouldn't have that information. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Come in, please.
Yes, sir. Excuse me.
I'm afraid you can't go any farther, miss. This is government property.
Is this the road to the hospital?
Yes, ma'am.
I've come to see Colonel Glenn Manning. I believe he's a patient here.
Well, there are no patients here, ma'am. Not since the war ended.
Please, I've come a long way to see him.
Oh. Just a minute. I'll phone the sergeant. The sergeant will see you. Now, you stay on this road about a quarter of a mile and you can't miss it. You'll find the sergeant just inside the main entrance.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Lindstrom. Dr. Lindstrom. Report to laboratory.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm looking for an Army officer who I believe was transferred here.
Oh, what's his name, ma'am?
Colonel Glenn Manning.
Colonel Manning. No Colonel Manning here, ma'am.
Oh, I see. Thank you, Sergeant. I was told that he might be here. Obviously, the party was mistaken.
Sorry, I couldn't help you, miss. The guard will let you out the gate.
Thank you.
Hated to disturb you, Paul, but I thought you ought to see him.
Has he had his intravenous feeding?
Yes.
How's his respiration?
Rapid.
I can't understand it. Give me a stethoscope, Eric. He's breathing much more rapidly now.
Changes every hour. Never received.
It's understandable.
Wish he'd snap out of it. Been unconscious since the accident.
Keep the room temperature at 80 degrees. I want a constant check on his pulse, hour by hour.
Right.
Many reasons why we didn't let you in on Colonel Manning's condition, Miss Forrest. Primary being that Washington gave the strictest orders that he be isolated. Now, for obvious reasons, they ordered a security restriction over the whole affair.
I want to help. Is there something I can do?
We're doing everything that can be done, Miss Forrest.
What happened? What made him grow?
Glenn Manning is growing from 8 to 10 feet a day. At the moment, he's 18 feet tall. Tomorrow, he'll be 26 feet. The next day, 35, maybe 40, and the next day...
But you've got to stop it.
Miss Forrest, we're trying. Believe me, we're trying. Let me explain it to you. Now, as you probably already know, the body is like a factory. It's continually producing new cells to replace the older cells, damaged cells or destroyed cells. Now, this happens in all the different parts of the body. Bone cells grow new bone cells. Skin cells grow new skin cells, and so on, throughout the body. Now, here, let me show you. This is an example of bone growth. Now, the broken bone shown in this X-ray became the healed bone shown in this X-ray by means of bone cell growth. Now, notice that the new cells join the broken bone together so that you no longer see any break. Now, a cut, say in your hand, heals in the same way, with new cells replacing the damaged ones.
It is this delicately balanced process of new cells replacing dying cells or damaged cells that is causing the growth problem with Glenn.
But how can this make his whole body grow?
The process is out of balance. For some unknown reason, new cells are growing at an accelerated or speeded up rate, while at the same time, the old cells are refusing to die. This is what makes Glenn grow. That's what made the new skin.
Then if you can stop this from happening...
We can stop his growth.
And if you can't?
Then Glenn Manning will continue to grow until he dies.
reason for you to volunteer. You should have waited until you were called.
Honey, I'm in the reserves. They'd have called me eventually anyway.
But it just isn't fair. You were just getting started. You've got your future to think about.
I am thinking about it. Thinking about yours, too. Darling, we're going to get married just as soon as the thing's over. It can't last long. Honey, will you please stop worrying?
When you're safe at home, then I'll stop worrying.
Stopped. Yeah. You all right, Carter? Yeah, sure. That last one was close. How are the rest? Not so good. We're tired to go!
How soon will the tent arrive?
It's being flown in from Circus Winter Quarters in Florida. Should be here any time now.
Well, he's already outgrown his room, you know. Well, as soon as you get the tent up, we'll break out the wall and move him.
Right.
Dr. Lindstrom?
The reason I sent for you was that Manning regained consciousness during the night. Now, at the moment, he's suffering from the shock of learning about his condition. He won't talk to anyone.
Oh, please, may I see him? I know he'll talk to me.
See him by all means. You know, psychologically, you may do him a lot of good. I want you to move quietly and unemotionally. You know, at his size, he's capable of pulling these walls apart. His height was over 22 feet this morning.
I understand. Glenn? Glenn? Won't you talk to me? They'll be able to help you. I know they will. The doctors are working night and day to find a cure for you, and they're very hopeful. Why, they're flying in Dr. Mayer from Sweden. He's one of the greatest specialists of cellular research in medicine. What else can I say to help you, Glenn?
What sin could a man commit in a single lifetime to bring this upon himself?
Hey, Bud. What's with this meat order they called in? I thought the Army hauled in its own stuff.
Come on, move on. All food deliveries are made to the stockroom behind the kitchen. You'll find it at the far side of the main building.
25 sides of beef. Who's going to eat it all? They haven't had any patients out here since the war ended. You fellas must eat pretty well.
We'll invite you to dinner so you can help us. Now move this truck out of here.
And what's the tent for? Something's going on out here that's mighty funny.
We're going to have a circus every Saturday.
Oh, now, come on, General. Let me in on the big secret. I won't breathe it to a soul.
All right. If I tell you, will you move this truck?
Right.
It's for him.
For who?
The giant.
What giant?
The 30-foot one we got living here.
Sure you have.
Now to swing away from the seamy side of the news. Many people are asking what happened to Colonel Glenn Manning, the Army officer who was exposed to the rays of the plutonium bomb at Desert Rock, Nevada a few days ago. Eyewitnesses of the incident state that to all accounts he should have died in the blast. Is he alive or dead? What's all the mystery for, Washington? Here in Las Vegas,
Nothing yet. Let's give him double the amount.
Let's try it.
Paul, would you mind if I tried something on my own?
What is it?
I'd like to attempt a practical application of the cellular theory we discussed yesterday.
Fine. By the way, where's Manning?
It's out with Carol.
You know, he shouldn't be permitted to walk around. He should be confined.
Fined? What he weighed this morning? 2,987 pounds.
Let's see, 5 hours, which should make him over 30 feet tall.
You know, it's funny, Carol. I was sitting here like this on the hillside, away from people and things. It's very funny. It reminds me of that picnic that we took once. See, that was You know, time has lost all perspective. It's been a lifetime since that explosion. Everything that happened before seems another world, another life.
That was a wonderful time.
What'd you say, Carol? Before I became a monster? You see, I don't mind a bit.
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't what? Talk about it, think about it? Do you realize that every breath I take, every movement, everything reminds me of what happened? Even when I try to sleep at night, close my eyes so I won't see people in the world getting smaller every minute. The beating of my heart keeps getting louder and louder, reminding me. I should never have lived through that blast.
You're alive, Glenn, and as long as you are, there's always hope.
You know what they wrote about me in the college yearbook? The man most likely to reach the top.
Everything's going to be all right. I know it is. The doctors are working night and day to find a cure. They feel that if they can stop your growth, they may be able to bring you back to normal.
You don't really believe that. They'll never find a cure for me.
Are you all right? Shall I go for Dr. Lindstrom?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I just don't want to grow anymore. I don't want to grow anymore!
Glenn! Glenn!
It's not going so well, is it? Doesn't he have any relatives?
There's no one. He's all alone except for me.
Carol, do you mind if I spoke bluntly? It's no good for you to be here.
Well, who has more right?
Well, in this case, I feel the right can be wrong. At first, I thought it might do him good to have you near. And of course, the government insisted that you stay. However, I'm going to recommend the security be lifted in your case.
How can you ask me to turn my back on the only person who's ever meant anything to me? Why, I've got to be here to try to help him get well.
Suppose that he doesn't get well. Drive back to the laboratory. There's something I want to show you.
I brought your dinner, sir.
What's new in the paper, Sergeant?
It's about you, sir.
Let's have it. Man lives through plutonium blast. That's a great joke, isn't it, Sergeant? They call this living. All right, Sergeant. Why don't you ask me what it feels like to be a freak?
Please, sir,
I'll tell you. This is how it feels to be so big you can stick your fist through a circus prop. Like a clown. Who else but a clown would have an expandable sarong like this, you know? It's adjustable. I can grow to be 100 feet tall, and I don't need a change of wardrobe. Army ingenuity.
Sir, may I leave?
Why? You want to go back to your quarters and tell your friends about the monster? About the circus freak? Well, that's right, Sergeant. I'm a circus freak. Have a tent. We'll travel. Why don't you make me up a sign saying, "See the amazing colossal man"? That was it, wasn't it, Sergeant? You do think I'm a freak, don't you? But you want to know something? With me, it's different. I think you're the freak. I think you're the one that's different. I'm not growing. You're shrinking.
And I feel that if you understand the circumstances more thoroughly, you will realize why it'll be better for you to leave. Now, this is a step-by-step illustration of Glenn's circulatory system in relationship to his growth. Now, this illustration represents Glenn shortly after the accident. And this one is of Glenn as of a few hours ago. Now, if you will look closely at each one, you will notice that all the parts are enlarging at the same ratio, except for the heart. Now, here. When it was of normal size, the heart measured approximately the size of the distance from his nose to his chin. However, at the size he is now, the heart measures the same as the distance from his lips to his chin. In other words, the heart has increased 1/2 as much as the other parts of the body. Now, remember when I explained the other day why Glenn was growing? I said that all the parts of the body consisted of millions of tiny cells that were rapidly and uncontrollably multiplying.
Yes.
Well, today we've learned that this theory does not apply to Glenn's heart. It is growing, but at a much slower rate. Now, the reason for this is rather technical, Carol, but to give you a simplified layman's explanation, it might be explained that since the heart is made up of a single cell for all practical purposes, instead of millions of cells like the rest of the organs of the body, it's reacting in an entirely different manner to this unknown stimulus or force that's behind this whole thing.
No wonder he's always complaining about those sharp pains in his chest. What does it mean?
Simply this, Carol. Then unless we can find a way to stop Glenn's growth very soon, his heart won't be able to carry the load any longer, and he'll die.
How soon?
Matter of days.
How will it happen?
His mind will go first, and then his heart will literally explode.
Why is this horrible thing happening? I've searched everywhere for the answer and I can't find it. All night I lie awake thinking, why? Why does it have to happen? Well, you're a doctor, tell me.
I wish I knew, Carol. I wish I knew.
I've got to make my report to Washington. Anything yet?
Nothing conclusive.
Right.
Hello, Colonel. How are you, Doctor?
We don't have time to become discouraged, Eric. We've got to find an answer quickly.
Did you tell Carol?
Yeah? She still won't leave. Well, I can't say that I blame her, but she's got to go. We can't take any more chances. Any change in the new animals?
None. Absolutely no change of any kind. I checked their galvanic reflexes on the hour, every hour. The results are the sum total of absolutely nothing. Paul, I don't think we've got a chance. The theory is just great on paper. It just doesn't stand up under practical application.
You know, Eric, it might be better if we concentrate the experiments with the guinea pigs and the rabbits in the lab. Since time is so important, we have the advantage of their short life cycle.
Well, the small animals can't stand up to the high-frequency stimulation. Let's continue the injections with the small animals and confine the high-frequency experiments to these.
All right. Seems logical.
Everything seems logical. Till you look at our giant.
Hello, Carol.
Frighten me, Glenn.
What'd you expect? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
I heard you cry out in pain. I was worried about you. Tomorrow may be an important day, Glenn. Dr. Coulter's been experimenting with some animals, a theory of some kind he's been working on. And he said he'll know the results by morning.
How tall do you suppose I'll grow before death releases me from this curse? 100 feet? Maybe 1,000? Could be a mile. That'd be something, wouldn't it? Can't you imagine that, Carol?
Please, Glenn, don't torture yourself.
I wouldn't actually have to worry too much about breathing till I got about 3 miles up. The oxygen starts to thin up there.
Glenn.
I'm a lost cause, Carol. They're not going to find the answer tomorrow or any tomorrow. You just picked the wrong number. Go on, pick up your chips. Go on home.
Do you think I could leave you alone at a time like this?
You never did know when to quit, did you? Can you take a hint? I want you to get out and leave me alone. I don't want you around, do you hear?
Say whatever you wish to me, Glenn, but please, please hold on until they try everything possible. There must be a cure for it. There must be.
Suppose it stopped. So what? I stopped growing. What then? Can't you imagine what a wonderful life we'd have together? Me up here and you down.
What is it, Glenn? Please, is there anything I can do?
Yes! Get out! Leave me alone!
Manning's disappeared, Eric. We can't find him anywhere on the grounds.
But you've got to find him.
Well, Colonel Halleck, security officer for the area, is out canvassing the desert with his men.
It's my fault. I had an argument with him last night.
Well, they won't go far. Paul, I've got the answer. I've got the answer.
The answer is in the bone marrow. The bone marrow. We were so close we couldn't see it.
Yeah. Dr. Lang's work on radiation exposure. Sulfahydryl. Inject sulfahydryl compounds into the bone marrow.
Exactly. The thing that fooled us was we were looking for some unknown quantity in the plutonium radiation, while all the time it was acting to a degree the same as a hydrogen exposure. The secret was in the degree of the exposure.
Well, then injections of the sulfahydryl compound should correct the body's regenerative balance. Well, I can see where this would stop his growth, but
You do think you can save him?
it may stop his growth, but it won't diminish his size.
The stimulation of the hormone secretions in the pituitary or growth-controlling glands will take care of that.
You know, it doesn't sound practical, Eric. I don't think it'll work.
Here, take a look.
That's amazing.
It's hard to believe, but it worked. I used high-frequency stimulation of the pituitary gland, causing the hormone secretion to reverse the growth process.
First, injections of the sulfahydryl compounds into the bone marrow.
That will stop the growing.
And then stimulate the pituitary gland to reduce his size.
But do you think you'll be able to inject him with a hypodermic needle this size?
I've had an oversized needle constructed. As a matter of fact...
Doctor, I couldn't find Manning anyplace. My men covered an area of 10 square miles.
But we can't lose him now. We just can't.
Just when we have the problem licked.
Colonel, can you get us a helicopter?
We have 2 helicopters, but only 1 pilot.
All right. We'll use them to find Manning. Eric, you go with the pilot and I can fly the other one. Colonel, it's imperative that we find him as quickly as possible. We think we found a cure, but only if we get to him in time. You see anything?
No! How'd you happen to learn how to fly a helicopter?
Well, I just wanted to learn how. And did. Calling helicopter Charlie Dog. Calling helicopter Charlie Dog. This is helicopter William X-Ray. Come in.
Hello, William X-Ray. This is Charlie Dog. Over.
Eric, do you see anything? Over.
Visibility good. No sign of it. We're flying toward the Las Vegas Boulder Dam area. Go ahead.
All right, Eric. You keep in touch. Off and clear.
Calling helicopter William X-Ray. Helicopter William X-Ray. This is Charlie Dog. Come in.
This is William X-Ray. Go ahead.
We are over Boulder Dam. Everything looks normal. We're heading towards Las Vegas.
Now, we'll keep flying in this direction. It's getting late, so if you don't find them within the hour, you turn back and we'll continue tomorrow.
The distance between our position here and the location where you spotted the dead cattle, marked by the pin, is only about 50 miles. Now, he certainly can travel faster than that. He's been gone over 15 hours.
He's probably been moving back and forth in a nameless pattern. I'll never understand why someone hasn't reported seeing him.
How tall would you guess he's grown to by now?
50, maybe 55 feet. Sooner or later, someone's bound to see him. Maybe take a shot at him. Colonel, maybe we're making a mistake in not informing the civil authorities.
No, I can't do that. You know the orders.
We could use help in tracking him down.
I'm not worried about finding him. As soon as it gets light, I'll show you some action. I just hope he lasts through the night without getting into trouble.
Colonel Halleck.
No reports yet, sir.
If anything comes in, no matter how trivial, if it's about the giant, call me. If I'm asleep, wake me.
Yes, sir.
Oh, and, Sergeant, place a call to the Nevada State Police. Ask them to report anything unusual. Missing cattle, broken fences, anything out of the way.
What will I give them for a reason, sir?
Think of something. Anything.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, I want to ask you a question, and I'd like a straight answer.
Well, yes.
Do you consider Manning dangerous?
If we can get to him, we can help him.
You haven't answered my question.
I truthfully don't know.
Well, I want to make something clear to you, Doctor. I've ordered up 2 more companies of men to help with the search, and I don't intend to risk casualties. If, when they find him, he shows any signs of violence, we'll have to stop him. And I mean stop him cold.
It's not a wild beast you're talking about. He's a human being.
But a potentially dangerous one, Miss Forrest. We won't hurt him unless he gives us cause.
But his mind is sick. There's no telling what he'll do or where he'll go.
He's out there somewhere, and we'll find him.
Not another drop, Alf. Not another drop as long as I live, so help me.
He should have been confined. A fence or something. Maybe chains. We had no business letting him run loose like we did.
How were we to know?
We should have known. The symptoms were there, Eric, in black and white. We were so engrossed in finding a cure, we failed to recognize the warnings.
Any word yet?
No, not a thing.
If only we can find him before it's too late. Why did I have to argue with him?
Now another one to take the blame. I'm going to bed before it's my turn.
We're taking off quite early in the morning. Is the needle and medication all set?
Since he left, but I'll double check. No.
Carol, a few days ago, I suggested that you leave. Now I'm going to insist that you leave. It's no longer safe for you. Glenn Manning is a sick man, in mind as well as body.
Dr. Lindstrom, I'm not leaving.
I've already wired Washington for permission to lift security restrictions. Now, the restrictions will probably be unnecessary by morning anyway. Someone's bound to see him.
You had no right to do a thing like that. Don't you have any heart?
You're an intelligent girl, Carol. Can't you see the futility of the situation? There's nothing more that you can do to help him. Besides, if and when we do find him, it's very likely he won't even recognize you.
Then you don't believe that you can save him.
Possibly. If we can get to him in time.
Well, I'm not leaving until I know.
Doctor, Miss Forrest, we've had 2 more reports of slaughtered cattle.
Was there anything else?
He was seen by a couple of motorists. And Manning is about 10 times the height and width of a normal man. And as closely as Dr. Lindstrom and Dr. Calder can estimate, Glenn Manning should weigh about 18,000 pounds. Now, I don't anticipate any trouble whatsoever in finding our giant. In fact, we possibly could have found him last night, after the 2 motorists reported seeing him. But since we don't know exactly what mental change may have taken place during Manning's continued growth, I thought it best to wait until daylight. Therefore, our greatest problem is not in finding him. But what to do with him after he's found? Dr. Lindstrom will brief you on that.
Now, naturally, we're not certain that it'll work. But the success or failure of the treatment may very well depend on how soon we're able to administer it. Under Colonel Halleck's command, you men will be in charge of the search patrols. Now, as soon as he's found, Dr. Calder and I will fly to him in a helicopter and take over from there. Colonel?
As you know, this is our position here. Slaughtered cattle have been found here, 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 and here. The two motorists reported seeing him at this point here on Highway 93. And from the way he's been zigzagging back and forth, we can assume that Manning is somewhere here in the southern tip of Nevada. And we're going to cover every inch of it until we find him. Now, here's the procedure of operation. 6 observation planes were sent up from the Victorville Air Base and are now searching from the air. They will be in radio contact with me at all times. Captain Hamilton, you will divide your company into units of 25 men. And starting from our position here, you will fan them out in an arc of 180 degrees and head east. Captain Fraser, you will also divide your company into units of 25 men. Trucks will take them to the place where Highway 91 crosses the border of Nevada and Arizona. You will then fan them out in an arc of 180 degrees and head westward. I will accompany one of your units. Are there any questions?
Sir, what do we do when we spot him?
Each unit will be equipped with a radio. Now, when you see him, report to me immediately. I will relay the information to the helicopter of Dr. Lindstrom and Major Coulter, and they will rush to the spot to medically treat him. And now a word of warning. You are not to advance any closer to the giant than 50 feet. Your men will be well armed, but you are not to fire, except in the case of self-defense. Remember, stay away from him. The giant is potentially dangerous. All right, dismissed.
Was such a large hypodermic needle necessary?
I think so. Remember, he's over 60 feet tall. Otherwise, we might have to make more than one shot.
And so the Chamber of Commerce has decided to increase the annual advertising budget here in Las Vegas. Well, it looks like the FSOOE, that stands for Flying Saucer Observers of Earth, have a competitor in the Seeing Strange Things department. And this time it's right here in Nevada. Now, it seems that 2 motorists driving south on Highway 93 barely missed a collision with, now get this, a 60-foot giant. What have you got to top that one?
Calling Ground Unit 3.
This is Observation Plane King Nancy. Over.
Observation Plane King Nancy. This is Ground Unit 3. Go ahead.
I see him, sir. I see the giant. He's just outside of Las Vegas and is moving toward the resort hotel section. Over.
Ground Unit 3, this is Helicopter William X-Ray. I heard the report, Colonel Halleck. We're changing our course. Should arrive in Las Vegas in about 40 minutes, off and clear.
Observation Plane King Nancy, this is Ground Unit 3, Colonel Halleck speaking. Are you still flying over Las Vegas? Over.
Roger. I can see the giant moving along the strip. Over.
Land your plane at once and contact the local police. Tell him not to attack or fire on the giant unless he becomes violent. Tell him to keep away from him. We are north of Boulder Dam and should be in Las Vegas within 40 minutes. Off and clear.
What seemed like a joke or a prank but a few hours ago has now become a reality. A reality in a king-size package over 60 feet tall. Police Chief Benson has asked me to tell you to stay in your homes. Stay in your homes. The Army is rushing 2 doctors to Las Vegas by way of helicopter. They apparently know what to do with the giant. What I'd like to know is, where did he come from?
We'll be in Las Vegas in about 30 minutes.
Paul, there's one thing we didn't give much thought to.
What's that?
Just how much of a job it's going to be to give him this shot. Think he's going to stand there and let us do it?
Not to shoot unless necessary. You're gonna let that monster run around loose? I don't care what the Army says. I say shoot him.
Here comes the giant!
Are you going to stand by and let him destroy property?
Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. To pick up some of the action and excitement through our window. We can't see him, but from the panic out there on the street, he must be... Wait a minute. Here he is! A 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas. Look at the size of that man.
doing down there? He's leaving the city, heading toward Boulder Dam.
We are nearing the Arizona side of Boulder Dam. We'll cut him off when he tries to cross. Over.
He's just ahead of us, Colonel. We'll try to stop him before he reaches the dam.
Right. Over and out.
Eric, get the needle ready. We're setting down here.
Glenn Manning, do you recognize us? We do not wish to harm you. We want to help you. We want to help you to get well. Do you understand? I'm Dr. Lindstrom. That's Major Coulter. And this is Carol, your fiancée. Do you understand, Glenn? We can help you.
Okay, Eric. Let's go. Drive it in hard. We have to penetrate the bone in the first injection. I doubt if we'll get a second chance.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Look out, he's breaking down!
Take our position here.
Bazooka forward! Stand ready to fire! He's got a girl, Alec! Don't shoot! Keep your man back! He's dangerous! He killed Major Coulter! Glenn! Manning, you must put the girl down! Put the girl down! You're holding Carol in your hand. Do you understand, Glenn? The girl is Carol.
I'm Carol, Glenn. Please put me down.
Put her down! Put the girl down! Ready? Fire!
Alrighty, so that was The Amazing Colossal Man. I hope you enjoyed it. Here's a little trivia for you. It's amusing. You know the scenes where Glenn Manning is running around and you see him, you know, where he's huge and the buildings are in the background and stuff? One thing you will notice is that Manning has no shadow. He doesn't present a shadow on the buildings, and he has no shadow on the ground, which, you know, when they did these shots, what they did is they put him in front of a screen, and then what they did in post-production is they put the background on. Well, you know, nowadays they fixed that by putting in a shadow, but at the time they didn't have the technology to do that. So you ended up with him looking odd like that. Also, in one scene, the military is having a meeting about Colonel Manning. And they mention the fact that he is 10 times the height of a normal man. And they say that he weighs 18,000 pounds. Well, this is incorrect. Because if a man is grown to 10 times his height, he would be 1,000 times heavier than he normally would. So it wouldn't be 18,000 pounds, it would be 180,000 pounds. Another little glitch that they had, continuity-wise, is that when Glenn Manning is rampaging through the strip, you know, the scene where he goes and he grabs the Pioneer Club cowboy sign and rips it and throws it at the police. The thing is that when you first see the police, there's 2 policemen and 2 police cars. Now, the thing is that when Manning throws the sign, the police cars are gone, the cops are still there, and there's a crowd of people running in different directions. So that's a major screw up continuity-wise. There was also another one when an Army officer gives Manning a plate of food. You see him. The officer's reading a paper. Well, then the next shot of him, he's actually pulling the paper out of his pocket. So, you know, those are the little tiny glitches that you can find on these films. Anyway, so now it is time for our intermission and coming attractions. I know you're excited about that. You're going to be really excited about the film we're going to have next month. So let's check that out.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
ask you your name, sir?
Polidori. Polidori. But not yet. First, I want to show you something. I dare say that most of you, when you saw your first Frankenstein film, assumed that it was a totally Hollywood creation. Whereas, in fact, Frankenstein and his creature were invented by an intellectual and somewhat revolutionary young lady, who is better known as the wife of one of the greatest poets in the English language, Percy Bysshe Shelley, than as an authoress in her own right. I brought you here because I want to show you the tomb of Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. I think you'll enjoy the film much more if you bear in mind that it was a 19-year-old girl of good family who first breathed life into Frankenstein's creature. She will shock you with her horrific fancies.
Go on, touch it. It's warm.
Well, that's hardly surprising. It's been alive for more than a month.
It knows you! Get it off!
I must speak to you alone.
Henry, listen. Look, I can...
Don't leave me alone with it.
There's nothing to be afraid of, Elizabeth.
She will transport you into a world of Regency glamour. To a world of danger and excitement.
An accident? How many?
7. 7 of them there were.
Male or female?
Oh, such fine young lads.
Were the bodies much damaged?
Who knows?
Well, where are they?
But they're using the stables as a temporary morgue.
Those eyes will open. Those limbs will move. That brain will be alive.
Scenes of rare beauty, such as when Prima, the female creature, is brought to life. More menace.
No, never! My experiment, as you call it. I shall regret that for as long as I live.
As a result of last night, sir, 3 people are dead and 10 more seriously injured. We are still searching for the maniac who is responsible.
You think you've got us all in your power. You have incriminated us. But I warn you, Polidori, I no longer care what happens to me. I am going to stop you.
Victor!
This is our chance. It's in there. With him.
What?
No, wait!
More adventure.
Help me! Help me! Victor! That man is your worst enemy. Leave him to his fate!
We're gonna burn the misshapen creature. Burn, traitor! Burn, Henry Cloverell! You want to get rid of him just as much as I do, you hypocrite. Out of here.
Alrighty, so that was our intermission and coming attractions. I know you guys are going to be absolutely excited about Frankenstein the True Story. Unfortunately, the thing is, we're not doing a double feature next month because this film is incredibly long. It was a mini-series, and it was done in 2 parts. So it'll take up the amount of time that 2 features would take. So, this is going to be interesting. I'm sure you're going to love it. It's got an all-star cast and all that. So, definitely a different take on Frankenstein. I know you'll be excited. Alrighty, so now it is time for our second feature. War of the Colossal Beast. Alrighty, Colonel Manning is still alive. That's right, the amazing Colossal Man is still alive. He's disfigured. He's 60 feet tall. He's stopped growing, but he has lost his human intelligence, so he is nothing more than a beast. And now the military has to go to Mexico and grab him and bring him home. And not an easy thing to do. So let's check out War of the Colossal Beast.
Anybody home? This is where I report a stolen car.
Yes, senor. Come in. What is your name?
Swanson. I'm running a gun club back in the hills.
Swanson. What kind of a car?
Dark green stake bed truck. 10.5, California license. Loaded with groceries.
Where was it taken from?
That's a hard question to answer. Look, here's what happened. The season opens next week, and I'm expecting a crowd down.
So I was stocking up on supplies, bringing this truckload of groceries down from Calexico. Get the picture? Well, I'd left the club station wagon in San Felipe, get a new rear end put in. So when I got there, I had to stop and pick that up, too. Get the picture? Now, I couldn't run 2 cars, so I hired this kid to drive the truck. Started him out, 3 hours ahead of me. Followed him in the station wagon. Get the picture? Well, he was supposed to meet me here. He hasn't arrived yet, and that was yesterday.
Have you looked for him?
Everywhere.
Well, then he must have gone back to the club.
Well, I just came from there.
Then you must have passed him up somewhere on the road from San Felipe.
If I passed him on the road, don't you think I'd know my own truck?
I'm sure you would, senor. But what if it went off the road?
There's no place he can pull off the road without getting stuck in the sand.
Then how could your truck be lost?
If it wasn't lost, would I be coming to you?
That is a good question, senor. Tell me about this boy that was driving it. What's his name?
Miguel something or other. 15, 16 years old, dark, thin, about so high.
Would you know him if you saw him?
Yes.
Come across the street with me, senor.
That's him. Where's my truck?
Un momento.
What's the matter with him?
Doctor, ¿qué cree usted que tiene el chamaco?
El chamaco está muy grave. Aún no ha recuperado de su tensión nerviosa, señor.
Miguel is a very sick boy. He's suffering from shock.
What from?
¿Qué cree usted que fue la causa, doctor?
Pues, ¿quién sabe?
Nobody seems to know.
What did you do with my truck?
Miguel, el señor quiere saber qué hizo con el camión. Contéstele. ¿Qué hizo con el camión? ¿Qué te pasó? Más fuerte. Mire, doctor, si se pone mejor el paciente, haga favor de notificarme, ¿eh?
Muy bien, así lo haré.
What do you say?
It's no use. If he gets any better, the doctor will let us know. Come with me. I will take you to the place where he was found. Truck made these tracks?
Must have. I had 2 new retreads like that on the rear.
Uh-huh. Came down the road, they got stuck.
Yeah. Then where'd it go?
Straight up in the air, it looks like.
Look, that truck had a radio and a heater, but it didn't have wings. Now you're gonna find it, or aren't you?
Look, senor, I am just a country policeman. I am paid to keep the peace. If someone steals, I try to catch the thief and put him in jail, like it says in the book. But about this, senor, I don't know. The book doesn't say anything about a thing like this.
And that's the latest report on the international scene. Now on the lighter side of the news. A dispatch from Guavas, Mexico says that Mr. John Swanson is having a little trouble collecting insurance on his stolen truck. What happened to it? Well, according to his claim report, it disappeared without leaving any tracks. Mr. Swanson says something must have carried off his truck. Now, what could have carried off his truck? And here in Los Angeles, the City Council has decided to vote upon the referendum for increasing the pay of teachers. With the interest that has recently been aroused regarding the importance of better schools, it is possible...
Operator, I want to place a person-to-person call to Mr. John Swanson in Guavos, Mexico. I'll hold the line.
I'm getting me a good lawyer. And if one ain't enough, I'm getting 2. I'm gonna make that insurance company pay up and pay up fast. I'm taking him to court by the... I'm sorry. I guess I shouldn't blow my top like that. But when somebody calls me a liar,
Excuse me.
Joyce Manning.
Yes. You must be Major Baird. Please come in.
Thank you.
This is Mr. Swanson, Major Baird.
How do you do, sir?
Howdy.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Would you like a drink?
No, thanks.
Mr. Swanson was good enough to come up here and tell me of his experiences.
Yeah, it was a mere nothing. I had to be in Los Angeles anyway today to see the insurance people.
Have I missed much?
Well, he tells me that he wasn't there to see what happened to his truck.
No, I guess I got there just too late.
Besides the truck's not being there, did you see anything unusual?
Like what?
Tracks in the sand.
There were car tracks, sure.
But no animal tracks?
Animal tracks?
Human footprints, Mr. Swanson.
What's so unusual about that?
These would be the tracks of a big man, a very big man.
Well, there were Miguel's. I don't get the picture. How big do you mean?
Very big. 10 times as big as you.
You trying to kid me?
Not at all. I'm trying to find my brother.
He got a bad dose of radiation poisoning in the course of testing a plutonium bomb. He started growing at the rate of 8 to 10 feet a day. You may have read about him.
Sure. Colonel Glenn Manning, the Colossal Man. I remember.
Glenn had reached a height of over 60 feet when he disappeared.
Well, didn't he get shot and fall off a boulder dam and get killed?
That's right. But Miss Manning seems to have an idea that he survived both the artillery fire and the fall. That is what you're getting at, isn't it?
I'll leave it up to Mr. Swanson. Wouldn't that account for the disappearance of your truck?
Look, lady, leave me out of this. I didn't see no footprints. I didn't see no giant. I didn't see anything. I've got enough trouble with the insurance company as it is. Get the picture? I gotta be going.
Can you think of anyone else who might help me?
There's a boy named Miguel down there, but he's not doing any talking. Doctor said he's suffering from shock or something. I'm sorry I can't do you more good, Miss Manning.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Swanson.
Good day.
Goodbye.
Hadn't you better give him up, Miss Manning? The Army did some time ago.
You never found his body.
The river below the dam is a mile deep in some places. His body's down there somewhere, and it'll show up in time. You think Glenn made his way down that river somehow and reached the Gulf of California, don't you? Believe me, it's impossible. I was in charge of the search for him, and I know. The medical authorities all agree no man, no matter what his size, could take those 2 bazooka charges in a drop of over 700 feet and come through it alive. Well, those are the facts. Take my advice and face them.
I shall, Major. Oh, thank you for coming. I'm afraid it wasn't worth your while.
It could be if you'd have dinner with me this evening.
Oh, I'd like to, but I can't. I'm leaving for Mexico right away.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
That is the boy, Miguel.
Has he told you anything yet?
No. But you can question him if you like. He's supposed to speak a little English.
Miguel. Miguel.
You see, señorita? You better come with me. I will find a place for you to spend the night.
Thanks, but I'm going to stay here.
All night?
So long as necessary.
Then my wife better get you something to eat.
Thank you.
Run. No. I'm done. I'm done.
What is it, Miguel?
I'm done.
Sergeant! Sergeant!
I'm done. Girl.
I do not understand what he's trying to say, señorita. Call me if he speaks again.
I'm done. I'm done.
Miguel, Miguel, cálmate. Miguel. Miguel, cálmese.
What does he mean?
It's hard to say.
Oh, Brome, what is that?
It's a big fellow, like an ogre in a story. A monster, a giant man. He must have been dreaming.
Was it a giant, Miguel? Was it a giant man? Was it Miguel?
We left within an hour after I got your phone call. This is Dr. Carmichael. He's head of our radiation exposure. He's very much interested in your brother's case.
I only hope I can do something for him, Miss Manning.
Thank you, Doctor. Dr. Carmichael, Major Baird, this is Sergeant Murillo of the Mexican State Police.
Where was it the boy saw the colossal man? The giant?
El Hombrón? He has not been able to tell us.
The sergeant can show you where the truck disappeared, though.
Si, senor. Won't you get in my automobile?
Fine.
This is where the boy Miguel was found. These tracks were made by the truck he was driving.
The truck apparently skidded into the water. It never drove out. What do you think, Mark?
It seems like pretty meager evidence to conclude because a truck disappeared that the colossal man's still alive.
But the boy...
Oh, I'm sure there's some logical explanation.
Señores! Señores! Come quickly! That is a very big footprint.
Major Baird, is that enough logic for you?
The foot that made that print is about 10 times the size of a normal man. That would make him about 60 feet tall.
Glenn was 60 feet tall.
He must have gone that way, to the mountains.
You think he could be up in those mountains?
Yes, it could be. There are no people up there.
Well, let's drive slowly. Maybe we could find some more footprints.
There are no more footprints. The ground is too hard here. But I see something over there.
Let's take a look.
This must be part of Swanson's missing truck.
No, this is another truck, señorita. Swanson's truck is a dark green bed stake, 10.5.
Nothing but a rock slide.
It is getting late. We better go home. It is not good to be here after dark.
Thank you.
Oh, no thanks. I have plenty.
Sorry to be so long. But I just talked to the Mexican military authorities on the phone. They have troops and artillery standing by. All we have to do is pinpoint the colossal man, and they'll move in on him.
He might come willingly if we reasoned with him.
How do you reason with a 60-foot giant?
It's possible he'd listen to somebody he knows well, like Miss Manning. Why not try it?
No, I don't want anybody getting hurt.
Please let me try at least.
No, I'm sorry.
Be reasonable. If you use force on him, somebody will get hurt. Very well, then. I'll go alone.
Wait! Wait, Miss Manning! Miss Manning, I didn't ask for this job. I was assigned to it. And if I'm going to get it done, I'll have to handle it my own way.
Well, it seems to me your way is going to hurt him more than help him.
I have to think of the safety of others as well as him. That goes for you, too.
I'm to forget he's my brother and do nothing, I suppose.
It's natural for you to be concerned about him. But can't you let it go at that? Well, you don't even know if he'll recognize you or not.
Let me find out.
We'll see about it tomorrow when the soldiers arrive.
Oh, today, please, before they get here. Please.
What makes you so sure you're going to find him? Why, he has a whole mountain range to hide in.
Oh, we have something to go on, those footprints.
All right. Get in my car. Been raiding these trucks for food to live on. This was a rifle.
Major, look at this.
It's his thumbprint.
This was Swanson's truck.
I don't know.
Back, Joyce.
They are baking it the way you want it, senor.
I think it's all right. When will the rest be done?
They say it would be ready soon. They are already loading the truck.
Good. Try it. Can you taste anything?
Tastes like bread. What's in it?
Chloral hydrate, enough to put him to sleep for 8 hours. I'll be at the bakery.
We have to capture him, and this seems to be the best way. Dr. Carmichael says it can't harm him in the least.
Isn't there any other way to handle it?
Well, it's that or let the Mexican authorities deal with him. We have no other alternatives.
Nobody's taken the time to think of any as far as I can see.
There isn't time to take. If we don't get him before he decides to move to another mountain, we may lose contact with him for weeks.
I suppose you're right. His face. I can't forget how horrible it was.
Where are you from, Joyce?
My home is in San Francisco.
Don't you think you'd be better off back there?
Do you know what it would be like to be just sitting around waiting for news?
You mind if I suggest a remedy? It's an old one, but it usually works. Find something else to occupy your mind. Do you have a job?
I write copy for an advertising agency.
Well, that should help you forget your troubles.
I can imagine myself going back to writing all those tired old adjectives. Tremendous, gigantic, colossal. You know what they'd mean to me now, don't you? Glenn. A colossal freak, Major. And he's my brother.
We're all set, Major.
Attack Swanson's truck. You think he'll eat the stuff?
All depends on his appetite. There hasn't been a truck through this road for 2 days now. He should be hungry. Let me drive. I know this road best.
All right. There's still no sign of him. If we don't make contact, we'll make the trip again.
Follow that we don't value our lives.
Besides, we want him to catch us. At this speed, he'll never make it.
I don't drive this way to make you nervous, senores. But the faster we go, the more dust we make, and the farther away we will show. Besides, giants run very fast. They have long legs.
Right behind us. You better step on it.
He's getting close. When we get to the clearing, I will slow down. We better jump in. If we make it, we will. Get ready.
Of Army Colonel Glenn Manning, the colossal man who went berserk in Las Vegas not long ago, is in the news again today. Military authorities last night admitted that the earlier announcement he had been accidentally destroyed was an error. He was captured alive today in Mexico, and plans are underway to fly him back across the border in a troop carrier transport.
You may quote me as saying that the nation and its representatives in Congress have nothing but gratitude for our sister republic south of the border, for their unstinting cooperation. And we're proud of Major Baird, and the way he handled the problem of the Colossal Man. It was a good job all around.
Well, now that he's being brought back to the United States, what does Congress plan to do about him?
Do about whom?
Why, the giant man.
Oh, as far as I know, that matter doesn't come under congressional jurisdiction. I was given to understand the Department of Medical Research takes over from this point on.
There's nothing in our directives about the disposition of a 60-foot giant. Naturally, we'll do what we can in a scientific way, but it's impossible for this department to assume the responsibility of his feeding and custody. Why don't you take this question up with the Health and Welfare Department?
Yes, the Manning case was referred to us here at Health and Welfare, but we found it lay outside the scope of our original appropriation. I have an idea it was turned over to Congress for action during the present session.
I can't imagine who told you to call me. The problem isn't one for the legislative branch to settle. Why don't you call the Pentagon?
Tell the pilot to circle the field once more.
US 11034, you are to circle the field again.
Roger. He has enough fuel left for 5 more minutes, Mayor. I can't understand you're not giving your permission for him to land under those circumstances.
I think I've made our position pretty clear. We have no facilities for a giant here.
When that plane runs out of gas, it's coming down whether you like it or not.
It can't stay any longer than is necessary to refuel and take off again.
Take off for where? We need time to decide what to do with him. Can't you find us a warehouse to keep him in temporarily?
Our warehouses are all located in the heart of the city. This creature's presence there would constitute too great a police problem. Now that applies to every other large downtown building, including the Coliseum. Have you considered the Hollywood Bowl?
We can't leave him exposed to the weather, even if he is a giant.
Well, I can't make any further suggestions.
That hangar doesn't seem to be in use.
Well, that's impossible. This airport is one of the major traffic centers of the Western world. Do you realize what it would mean if an uncontrollable monster should get loose here?
I give you my word. We won't keep him here a minute longer than is absolutely necessary.
All right. You may tell the ship to come in for a landing.
Troop carrier US 11034, you may land on runway 170.
Glenn here at the airport.
Well, I'm holding him here till Washington decides what to do with him.
What to do with him? He ought to be in a hospital getting treatment.
They don't make hospitals that big, Joyce. Besides, as yet, the doctors haven't turned up anything that can help him.
Why don't they treat him with sulfahydrol? Isn't that what they said would cure him?
Well, they found it stopped his growth, but I'm afraid it won't reverse it.
I see. Well, they can't keep him here as if he was some kind of cattle.
It's just for the time being. I'm afraid the world doesn't think of a 60-foot man the way a sister does.
It's necessary to keep him tied down like this.
If I could trust him, I could let him have more freedom. As it is, I have to play it safe.
Glenn Manning!
As you see, he doesn't even know his name. Colonel Manning! Colonel Manning! Colonel Manning!
10 feet a day. The moment, he's 18 feet tall. Tomorrow, he'll be 26 feet. The next day, 35, maybe 40, and the next day...
I just don't want to grow anymore. I don't want to grow anymore!
Come back, Glenn, please!
A 60-foot giant in the streets of Las Vegas. Look at the size of that man.
Glenn Manning, do you recognize us? We do not wish to harm you. We want to help you. We want to help you to get well. Do you understand? We can help you.
Okay, Eric. Let's go. Drive it in hard. We have to penetrate the bone in the first injection. I doubt if we'll get a second chance.
You ready? 1, 2, 3.
Look out, he's reaching down!
Anesthetic would do better than tear gas.
Get some here on the double. Captain, get reinforcements.
What are you going to do to him?
I don't know, but I can't let him loose among a million people.
Are you going to have to kill him?
If it comes down to it, I will. I'm responsible for the lives of others first.
Please,
him second.
Don't, please.
Sergeant! See that Miss Manning gets back to her hotel and stays there. Give me the control tower immediately. This is Major Barrett here. Get all the aircraft into the air at once. That goes for the Air Force jets at the south end of the field. Right.
City Council's up in arms about this. The public has a right to protection, you know.
Well, we understand your position, Mr. Mayor. I came out from Washington for the sole purpose of straightening this thing out. We're here to decide what's to be done.
He's safe now, is he?
Well, he's too weak to break loose at the moment. He lost considerable blood in his attempt to escape. Besides that, we've taken extra precautions with him. Let me show you. We keep a watch on him night and day. Those manacles are specially wrought to stand 10 times his estimated strength. We have them anchored in cement, weighing 2 tons and sunk 12 feet in the earth. Guards have been doubled, and we keep a reserve force in standby duty. And there's not much chance he'll give us any more trouble for the time being.
Well, you certainly have taken measures, but you can't expect to keep him here for life. Have you any idea what'll happen to him eventually?
Well, that depends. Do you see any hope that he'll ever improve?
Well, I'd rather have you ask Dr. Carmichael. Dr. Carmichael! Dr. Carmichael, the mayor.
Doctor.
General Nelson.
How do you do, General?
What can you tell him about your patient, Doctor?
Well, the big question now is his mind. He may be suffering from amnesia, shell shock, loss of memory, whatever you want to call it. In that case, we have techniques now that will bring him out of it. On the other hand, if his brain tissue has suffered injury, he'll be a psychopathic case and a menace until he dies.
Is there any way of telling?
An examination would do that.
How soon can you proceed with it?
Almost immediately.
Well, please do so. We'll decide what's to be done with Manning as soon as we have the doctor's findings.
We'll keep you posted, gentlemen.
And I'll check with you before I return to Washington, Major.
Yes, sir.
But I tell you, a man's life depends on this plasma. I know 10 gallons is a lot, but Dr. Carmichael explained the case to you this morning. I can't sit here and argue about it. It's needed right away. Just a moment, please. Dr. Carmichael. Will you talk to the Red Cross people, please? They refuse to send any more plasma for Glenn. They say we've used too much already.
Mark. This is Major Baird. My men and I will see that you get back all the blood we used for this case. Now you send over what we need immediately. Thank you. Goodbye. They'll have it here in half an hour.
Oh, Major, wait. I want to thank you.
Forget it.
I'm sorry for what I said yesterday. I know you've tried to save Glenn as much as you could.
You look tired, Joyce. Isn't it time you went home?
I suppose it is.
There's an army car waiting outside if you'd like to go home in that.
With a soldier to see me to the door?
This time I'll do it myself.
This is an electroencephalograph. It records impulses set off by different parts of the brain. Records them on this paper, making these wavy lines. Now, we're going to try to stimulate your brother's mind with various ideas. If one happens to arouse a response, it will cause a tiny electric current to occur in his brain, and that in turn will be greatly amplified by this machine, so that it'll register on this paper.
What will that tell us?
If he responds to anything, it means curable amnesia. If not...
I understand.
Will you get this now, please?
Dr. Richardson, how's the examination coming? Coming along fine. I'll be down in a minute. I'll get the instrument ready. Will you hook this up, please? Bill, bring a projector. Set it up over there. Is the screen going to be all right up there, Doctor? Yes, that's fine. Yet, Dr. Richardson? Never seen such dreadful facial injuries. How were they sustained?
When he fell from Boulder Dam, he must have hit his head on the rocks. Of course, the wounds went untended, so scar tissue formed as you see it.
The shock of such a fall would indicate the possibility of amnesia, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it. I get a normal nervous reaction. That's certainly not typical of amnesia.
Looks like brain trauma, I'm afraid.
Are you ready for the association tests?
Are you ready, Phil? Let's have the first slide.
Glenn Manning, look at the picture in front of you. Does it mean anything to you? You went to college there, Manning.
Better try another. We're not getting any response.
Look again, Manning. Look at this ship. It brought you back to this country after your service in Korea.
Try another.
Look at this, Manning. Look at this face. Do you recognize it? Does this man mean anything to you? Look at it, Manning. Do you understand? It's your face.
What do you think, Doctor? I don't see any use continuing. He doesn't seem to respond.
Let me try, please. You must remember, Glenn. Try. Your childhood. Remember your bicycle, Glenn? It was red and it had a light on it. We had fun when we were kids, didn't we, Glenn? Your first high school date, when Dad let you take the car. You were so proud. Oh, you must remember, Glenn. Please, Glenn, please try to remember.
Get your orders?
They're shipping him out tomorrow morning. The Navy has a ship ready to take him to the island. It's a small one, about 60 miles off the coast.
That doesn't leave us much time.
Well, it'll take all night to get him ready.
Told Joyce yet?
No.
You'd better. She's at her hotel.
Well, I'll see you back here in about a half an hour. He'll be well provided for. An airlift is being set up and food will be parachuted down to him. He'll be supplied with everything he needs.
Just the same, it's horrible.
There's no place in the civilized world for a creature that big. You see what's happened to him. He'll be happier by himself.
I suppose I should agree with you, but I can't help feeling terribly sorry for him.
Well, look at it this way. Glenn has become a total stranger to you. Not your brother anymore, but a monster with the instincts of a wild beast. And there's nothing you and I or anyone else can do that will ever change him back to what he once was.
Alone on this island?
The Navy will land an inspection party every month.
Oh, I'd like to go with them if I can.
I thought you would, so it's been arranged for you. Good night, Joyce.
Oh, wait. I know you've done everything you can for him, Mark. And for me. Thank you. Hello? Major Baird, just a moment. He's right here.
Major Baird here. When?
Well, it was checked okay just 10 minutes ago.
Glenn has escaped. Let me speak to Dr. Carmichael.
I can't, sir. He's dead.
This is an all-points bulletin. The Colossal Man is loose in Los Angeles. All units report immediately upon contact. I repeat, the Colossal Man is loose in Los Angeles. All units report immediately upon contact.
Will they know where you are?
Yes, I told Harris would be here in the office waiting for news.
Let me have the police department. I'm calling for Major Baird. Oh, yes, we know he's escaped. Has he been sighted yet? I see. Thank you. No police reports. He hasn't been seen. Where could he be?
Baird here. He's been spotted in Griffith Park. Do you have a map?
Yes, I've got the map of Griffith Park right here.
Order up the armored artillery. We'll surround the area and move the infantry in on him till we make contact. Don't open fire until he's isolated from all civilians, and then only if absolutely necessary. Have the police block off all access roads. Move up our communications. We'll set up field headquarters in the hills. I'll take command. Right.
All right, men, here it is.
Attention all units. Attention all units. The Colossal Man is in the Griffith Park area. Car 42, 52, and 61 proceed to the Riverside Drive entrance. Cars 40, 41, and 46 proceed to the Ferndale entrance. Roadblocks will be set up at once.
We interrupt our regular program to bring you a special police bulletin. The Colossal Man has broken loose and is now known to be in the vicinity of Griffith Park. Steps are being taken to recapture him. Do not go near the area. I repeat, do not go near the area. You may endanger your life by doing so, and you are certain to impede emergency services which need all the space they can get. This station is dispatching a mobile unit for on-the-spot coverage at the scene in Griffith Park.
What did you expect to see? A satellite with a picture of the man and a devil. Something to talk about right here.
Hey, Bud! Pull out!
I'm waiting for a load of kids.
Where are they?
In the Griffith Observatory, looking for a Sputnik or something.
Well, hurry them up and get out of the park as quick as you can.
What's going to happen?
There's trouble. The giant man's on the loose around here.
Let's go. Hurry it up. All aboard.
We'll set up a roadblock here. He's somewhere between us and the observatory up there.
This is Major Baird at the Griffith Park roadblock. All light units, turn your lights on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing a manhunt for the biggest man in existence. We're in Griffith Park. It's been surrounded by troops. They're moving up to try to make contact. That building you see up there is the Griffith Observatory. Now the searchlights are swinging over to our left.
I want a Artillery to cover the mountain on all sides, particularly here and here.
Arthur! Laurie! Hurry, we're leaving now!
Sure, I'd go off on a rocket ship. What's to stop me? They've got all the problems solved.
You wouldn't have anybody to talk to. Cold up here. I wish Mom would have made me bring my coat.
I talked to all the people back on Earth by radio. Maybe I'd even call you, Laurie.
Laurie!
Then when your father's objecting to you talking on the phone too long, you just tell him it was someone on the moon.
That wouldn't make any difference to my father.
Arthur!
I wonder what's going on down there.
Maybe the Martians have landed.
The teacher's been calling us.
Let her call. Boy, look at all those searchlights.
I'd like you to meet some of the officers working here with the Army to restore order. Any trouble with the public causing congestion in the disaster area?
Not this time. They seem to be keeping the roads pretty well open for us.
I understand you're able to get everyone out of the park before anything could happen to them.
That's right.
We really appreciate you men at a time like this.
Oh, officer, there was a school bus from Westmont Junior High up at the planetarium tonight. Did you see it come down?
All cars were checked out of the park some time ago.
Are you sure? My daughter Laurie was on it. I've been waiting for her down at the corner. You see, we live in Glendale, and I thought if I picked her up here and drove her home, she could get her sleep. She has to get up so early in the morning on school days. Well, I brought her coat in case she's cold.
Oh, wait a minute and I'll check.
Thank you.
Arthur! Laurie!
We'd better go now.
There's nothing for you to worry about. The bus is still up there, but it seems to be safe.
Can't I go through? Let me go to Laurie, please. She ought to have her coat. I wanted her to take it when she left the house this morning, only I forgot to remind her.
She'll be all right without it. Just you take it easy and wait right here.
Laurie, Edwards, and Arthur Lane, where have you been?
Oh, over there, watching the lights.
There are a lot of people down there.
Let's go.
Something's the matter.
Well, get in the bus. Quickly, we have to go.
Look! Look at the giant!
There he is! He's tremendous!
Glenn Manning, listen to me. You're surrounded. It's impossible for you to escape. My men have orders to fire on you if you try. Give yourself up. You will not be harmed. I repeat, escape is impossible. You will be harmed if you give yourself up at once. Give yourself up, Glenn. Give yourself up. Surrender yourself or you will be destroyed.
Laurie, don't you see? Somebody's got to do something.
Joyce, come back!
So that was War of the Colossal Beast. What did you think? I mean, I absolutely love that film too. You know, it's something. Anyways, the reason why Glenn Manning looked so messed up as he was because the producers did not want the audience to realize that the part of Glenn Manning had been played by another actor. Because the thing is, as part of the film, they do have a flashback to a scene from The Amazing Colossal Man. Also, an interesting little thing is the fact that in The Amazing Colossal Man, they established that Glenn Manning did not have any living family members. But in a War of the Amazing Colossal Beast, his sister Joyce plays a major part in this, which is a major error in the story. You know, right to the point where Joyce is the only person that Glenn Manning remembers. He keeps saying Joyce. That's the one word he does say, is he says Joyce, his sister. Also, the producers titled this the War of the Colossal Beast instead of what it was originally going to be called, which was Return of the Amazing Colossal Man, because they didn't want the audience to know that this was a sequel. Don't ask me why, but they didn't want them to know. So anyways, that was War of the Colossal Beast. Fantastic film, you know, along with the film before, The Amazing Colossal Man. Now it is time from our friends at Darkstone Entertainment. Sorry, Johnny. Darkstone Entertainment comes Mr. Lobo as the infamous Psychic Criswell. Enjoy.
Greetings, my friend. I am the all-powerful Criswell. For years I've foretold the almost unbelievable, related the unreal, and showed it to be more than a fact. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives, whether we want to or not. So let us remember the past, honor the present, and be amused by the future. I predict that in the not-too-distant future, beings from another planet will come to Earth and let our people know of their infinite knowledge and invite us to become a part of a bigger community, the community of the universe. We will be welcome amongst the higher levels of intelligence that populate the galaxy. At first, we will feel quite at ease with our newfound friends, then out of the blue they'll begin to offer us things we don't really need, like pet moon rocks, space dust covers, subscription to alien magazines we can't even read, or even 99 musical saucers for 1 penny. Yes, my friends, we will become nothing more than victims of intergalactic mass marketing. Earth's financial centers will be wiped out overnight, all because of a phony interplanetary sweepstakes called Mothership's Clearinghouse. Be warned, and never, ever answer the telephone nor open your mail again. Time is eternal. It is a ribbon with no beginning and no end, my friends. The past is just a continuation of the future, and this ribbon is wrapped tightly around your present. So may this knowledge of tomorrow entertain you, inform you, and empower you with prosperity and success today. Good night, my dearest friend. And may God help us in the future.
That was Criswell Predicts. John absolutely loved Criswell Predicts. So do I. And that was brought to you by Darkstone Entertainment and Johnny Johnson. Go to Darkstone Entertainment and get yourself one of their wonderful Darkstone films. They got the Skeleton Key series. They've got the Lovecraft Chronicles. They got the Jester. They've got Johnny Johnson's incredible remake of Plan 9 from Outer Space. They've got a whole bunch of fantastic films, so go down to Darkstone Pictures and get yourself a great horror film. Alrighty, so that is it for this month's Bloodbath Theatre. Be ready next month for our special presentation of Frankenstein, the True Story. Until then, this is William Pattison, King of Splatter Punk, author of the Camp Crystal Lake novels, and John saying, keep America strong, watch horror films. Enjoy.